On December 10th, 2005, Sosoliso Airlines Flight 1145 was involved in a tragic accident during landing at Port Harcourt International Airport. This event profoundly affected many families, including students from Loyola Jesuit College returning home for the holidays. Let's watch us speak before giving details of that 2005 incident.
Hello everyone, my name is Kechi Okwuchi and I am one of the 2 survivors of the Sosoliso plane crash that happened on December 10th, 2005, taking 107 of 109 lives on board, 60 of whom were students from Loyola Jesuit College, who we now call the 60 Angels. Today is a major milestone. It is the 20th anniversary of that plane crash, and it's sort of unbelievable that so much time has passed already. 20 years is a big deal. I was 16 when it happened and now I'm 36. So much life has happened from that day till this moment for all of us. But I feel like, every time this day rolls around, every one of us who was affected by that accident, we have this feeling of, at least I do, of just kind of it's like a grounding feeling where you're forced to kind of face the reality of mortality. The fact that, life is not promised, tomorrow is not promised, anything can happen and drastically change the course of your life. And it's just something that makes me very reflective. I feel like a lot of us can relate to that feeling. I really wanted to be in Nigeria for this day. I was in Nigeria for the 10-year anniversary. And so it just feels right to be in Nigeria in person for every, major milestone that commemorates this day. I was really sad when they had to cancel the event that, they were going to hold in LJC for this day. But understandably, safety is always paramount, and all the political unrest, it just, it makes sense that they had to cancel. But at least we have this, platform where we can all share our tributes. So I'm grateful for that too. Honestly, yeah, I'm just very reflective today. I'm thinking about, I just always have to, I do a lot of speaking engagements, so I do have to tell the story of what happened that day, like all the time. But on this particular day, it's not really about the story. It's about the feeling that I had that day that I feel like, will never go away for the rest of my life. I remember everything that happened that day vividly, and I think I will forever. But I also remember the feelings I was having during the time when the plane was like going down. I remember all the confusion, and I remember holding one of my closest friends' hands from across the aisle, thinking that this was the end for real. And it's just one of those things that, like, every time I talk about it, I'm taken back to the moment, the feeling. A lot of life has happened since then, like I said. In the beginning, right after the accident, things were very hard. It was a very long recovery process. I remember the doctor said that burns are such an insult to the human body because of how it ravages the skin. And so, the injuries were very, very vast and deep, and took a long time to heal. But 20 years have passed, and so my memories are not only negative or painful anymore. I've had a lot of amazing experiences because I was able to have the second chance at life that most people on that plane were not able to. They were not afforded that. So I think because of that, one thing that I always carry with me is the loved ones that were left behind, the people that lost loved ones on that plane. Those people I carry with me everywhere, especially the parents of the kids, the 60 Angels, because these are people that, despite their loss, despite their grief, they rooted for me, they reached out to me, they supported me, they became a part of my support system, which is the primary reason that I'm able to be here, standing, living my life, being myself today. And they form a huge part of that because they made room for me in the middle of their grief. And so because of them, I resolved to live my life as fully and excellently as possible on behalf of those that they lost, because I feel like it's the least I can do. They have been watching me, supporting me, praying for me from day one. And so all my successes they're aware of, and all my successes are their successes too. I feel like is the least I can do to live as fully as possible on behalf of those that they lost, because it's just a responsibility that I put on myself to make sure that I make them proud, those that we lost and their loved ones. So today I'm reminded of that. I'm just reminded of the fact that I have a purpose that I set for myself. I hope it's God's purpose for me, but it's one that I've always felt strongly about nonetheless. And I hope that I can continue to use my life to represent all those that were lost that day and make those that they left behind proud by the things that I accomplish. And I know a lot of them have always told me that I don't need to do anything grand or feel pressure to be great. I just need to live well. And I'm taking that to heart. I always have. So thank you for your support all these years, these last 20 years. I pray for your support for the next 20. And I know today is hard for all of us. I pray that as we remember those that we lost, we also remember the wonderful memories that we shared with them before we lost them. And I pray for strength to continue on for the next 20 years and to live as fully and as well as we can on their behalf. Thank you so much for listening, and everyone have a blessed day.
For those unfamiliar with this event, let me provide some context about what happened on that December day in 2005. Sosoliso Airlines Flight 1145 was a scheduled domestic passenger flight traveling from Abuja to Port Harcourt, Nigeria. The aircraft, a McDonnell Douglas DC-932, was carrying passengers, including a large group of students from Loyola Jesuit College in Abuja, who were eagerly heading home to Port Harcourt for their Christmas holidays. The flight departed Abuja at approximately 12 p.m. local time on December 10, 2005. As the aircraft approached Port Harcourt International Airport for landing that afternoon, it encountered severe weather conditions. Port Harcourt was experiencing heavy rain and thunderstorms with poor visibility and strong winds, conditions that would prove challenging for the landing approach. During the final approach to runway 21, the aircraft deviated from its intended flight path. Multiple factors contributed to the accident, including adverse weather conditions and approach-related challenges. The aircraft made contact with the ground before reaching the runway, impacting a drainage culvert about 60 meters before the runway threshold. The impact caused the aircraft to break apart and catch fire. Emergency responders rushed to the scene, but the intensity of the fire made rescue efforts extremely difficult. The accident occurred at approximately 2:08 p.m. local time. The investigation that followed was conducted by Nigeria's Accident Investigation Bureau, AIB. The final report identified several contributing factors to the accident, including the severe weather conditions, wind shear during the approach, and crew decision-making during the challenging landing attempt. The report also highlighted broader systematic issues within Nigeria's aviation sector at the time, including concerns about safety standards, training, and regulatory oversight. This accident was particularly devastating because of the young lives involved. The majority of the students on board were teenagers between the ages of 12 and 18, bright young people with their entire futures ahead of them. The tragedy sent shockwaves through Nigeria, particularly affecting the Loyola Jesuit College community and the families in Port Harcourt who had been waiting to welcome their children home for the holidays. The Sosoliso crash was one of several major aviation accidents that occurred in Nigeria during the mid-2000s, a period that raised serious concerns about aviation safety in the country. In response to these incidents, the Nigerian government implemented significant aviation safety reforms, including restructuring regulatory agencies, improving safety standards, and enhancing pilot training requirements. Out of everyone on board that day, only 2 individuals survived the initial impact and subsequent fire: Kechi Okwuchi, whose story you just heard, and one other person. The survival of anyone from such a catastrophic accident was considered remarkable by aviation experts and medical professionals. The incident remains one of the most significant aviation tragedies in Nigerian history and continues to be remembered annually, particularly by the families affected and the Loyola Jesuit College community. December 10th has become a day of remembrance, reflection, and tribute to the lives lost. Now, let's continue with Kechi's remarkable journey of survival and recovery. As you heard from Kechi's own account, following the accident, she faced an incredibly difficult recovery journey. She was treated at Mill Park Hospital in Johannesburg, South Africa. and later at Shriners Hospitals for Children in Galveston, Texas, where she underwent extensive medical treatment and over 100 reconstructive surgeries over the years. Despite the challenges, Kechi's determination never wavered. She found strength through her faith, her family support, and a passion for music. Interestingly, she discovered that her voice had changed after the accident, becoming stronger and more resonant, which would later become central to her healing journey. Kechi's achievements are truly inspiring. In 2015, she graduated with first-class honors from University of St. Thomas in Houston, Texas. She went on to compete on America's Got Talent in 2017, becoming a finalist and capturing hearts across the nation with a powerful voice and inspiring story. In 2019, she received Simon Cowell's Golden Buzz on America's Got Talent, The Champions. She has also earned a master's degree in business administration with distinction. Today, Kechi is an accomplished singer, motivational speaker, and author. Her memoir, More Than My Scars, shares her journey of recovery and resilience. She performs at major events and speaks at venues across the United States, South Korea, and Nigeria, inspiring audiences with a message of hope and perseverance. What makes Kechi's story so impactful is her perspective on identity and self-worth. She refuses to be defined solely by her past or her physical appearance. Instead, she emphasizes the importance of seeing ourselves through a lens of compassion and faith, drawing strength from within rather than external validation. Kechi's philosophy is grounded in patience and gratitude. She reminds us that meaningful growth takes time. Our own recovery has spanned 2 decades. Through every challenge, every surgery, and every moment of doubt, she has chosen to focus on progress rather than perfection, and gratitude rather than grief. On this 20th anniversary, Kechi honors the memory of those who were lost, particularly the students from Loyola Jesuit College. She has dedicated herself to living a life of purpose and meaning, using her platform to spread messages of courage, acceptance, and hope. Her life demonstrates the extraordinary capacity of the human spirit to overcome adversity. Through her music, her speaking engagements, and her authentic presence, Kechi shows us that circumstances don't have to limit our potential. With faith, support, and determination, we can transform our most difficult experiences into sources of strength and inspiration for others. Kechi's message is clear. No matter what challenges we face, there is always hope. Our scars, whether visible or invisible, are part of our story, and they don't have to be the whole story. We have the power to choose how we move forward and what legacy we create. Thank you for taking the time to hear Kechi's story. If you found this inspiring, please like, share, and subscribe for more stories of resilience and hope. And remember, whatever you're facing today, you have the strength within you to overcome it. Let's honor the memory of those we've lost by living lives full of purpose, compassion, and gratitude. Thanks for watching RNN TV. I am Esther Olateju.